it's finally wallpaper day. I hunted around and found some old wallpaper paste. I don't even know how long I've had this, but it must be from when we first bought the cottage, like, I don't know, 15 years ago maybe. It's quite old, but it's still powdery, so it should be fine. There was another bag upstairs, part open, and it had gone a bit chunky, it was gone hard, so that would make lumpy wallpaper paste, but that seems okay. I got my scissors, tea towel. Now, the way I wallpaper is the way I learnt from my dad, so I need to find my paste brush. You don't brush the paper on with a brush, you use a tea towel that hasn't got too much texture. I need to find my pasting brush. I need to mix up some paste, and also John found another half open tin of that wood stain, so I can finish that door later, which would be brilliant. Although it did stink of wood stain in the living room for most of the afternoon yesterday, and it was not very pleasant. It made me feel quite queasy, but I can get that finished. There's only half door to do. So it's find my brush, mix up some paint, and open this wallpaper. I might do that first actually, because I haven't opened the roll yet, and I want to be doubly sure on a couple of things. Like, it isn't going to be one of those nightmare wallpapers from my childhood that was rolled the wrong way. It should be. I must have been this, I don't know, maybe when I was a kid, the one time we bought some wallpaper and it was seconds or something, because it was rolled upside down. So let's have a look. Oh, you are kidding me. It's rolled upside down. What a blooming nightmare. It is. I can't believe that. Or is it? Hang on. Yeah. It is upside down. Well, that's a pain in the bum. So I'm going to have to re-roll this whole roll the other way. So, because the way wallpaper, you put the roll on the floor, get hold of the edge of the paper and pull it up to the ceiling. Well, I can't do that if the roll's at the top. That's going to be a pain in the bum. So I have to re-roll this first as well. Okay. And I believe this is paste the wallpaper. Let's see. Blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Do not immerse paper. Cut the paper to where length. Oh, see, it doesn't say paste the paper. Paste the wall. It says paste the paper. It said so where I bought it from. So I'm going to have to sort out a pasting surface as well now, which I hadn't planned on. Something else to do. This is becoming a pain in the butt. Okay, so I have set up the drop leaf table upstairs in the sewing space. So it means I have to go up and down the stairs with the wallpaper, but needs must. Because the way the dining table is, there's gaps in between the boards, so that's not going to work. I've got my paste mixed up, that's upstairs already, and my paste brush, which I had to wash out for 10 minutes because somebody's husband hadn't washed the paint out properly last time he used it, and it's my favourite paste brush. It's ancient. Well, it's not ancient, but I've had it at least 20 years, and it just works really well because it's got quite short bristles on it, whereas most like 4-inch brushes are got quite long bristles on it. They just flop, flop, slap, slap, slap about. That's now the Eastern ornament for putting paste on. So I've got my favourite brush sorted out. I just need to go get a kitchen knife for cutting the wallpaper upstairs, and I think we can start hanging it. I also did re-roll the wallpaper the right way as well. So finally it should be a start. So I finished wallpapering. I managed to squeeze out of one roll what should have been 1.5 rolls worth of wallpaper in here. I've had to patch up in a couple of places, but when I'm finishing you won't be able to tell. So the wallpaper was an absolute nightmare. It looked pretty, but it was a pain in the butt to hang. It's supposed to be paste the wall when I bought it, and it turned out it was paste the paper, but in reality I think it would have been easier to paste the wall because the paper went quite floppy when it was pasted. And you're supposed to let it soak for a long time. I didn't, because I don't like to soak my paper for too long in case it becomes too fragile and it tears. But I'm glad I didn't as well, because it would have been even worse. And then when I tried to hang it, it wouldn't stick to the wall, even though I'd pasted the paper. So I ended up having to paste the wall anyway. So it's been pasted on the paper and the wall. And it was just really floppity when it was damp. So when you come to like trim up at the top and bottom and stuff, you're wrestling with it. It's like trying to like cut a piece of wet fabric. It was just a pain in the bum. The top is a little bit messy, but I'm not worrying about that because I'm going to put some sort of trim up here, and just over here at the edge of this paper here, there's a bit of a gap. I'm trying to angle this right between here and the door frame. So what I'm going to do is put the piece of trim down here and fill this gap with wood so it looks intentional, because we've got this weird, I'm working at the wrong side of the camera for this. We've got this weird kind of door framey cornery bit up here, so I'm gonna trim that out instead. But otherwise, I like the look of it. I like the paper. Let me just flip the camera so I can see what I'm looking at. So this is, once these wooden doors are on, it's gonna look good. And like this is, that won't be white. It'll have stuff on it, and then here there'll be lots of stuff and pictures and all sorts. So it's one of those trust the process moments. Glad I painted the door brown because it looks much better against this wallpaper than a white door would have. So I am in desperate need of a cup of tea now. So that's what I'm going to go and do. I'm going to change out of this pasty t-shirt and have a cup of tea before I have to make dinner. Because that's how late it's gone and how long it's taken. Much longer than I was expecting.